We've already talked how when you're configuring your clients for DNS resolution, you give them a primary and a secondary server that contains all that content that they may need to resolve against. And we also discussed how a client assumes that the content on that primary and on that secondary is essentially the same. The whole point behind the secondary is that it exists when the primary is down. Now, in certain circumstances, however, you may find yourself in a larger organization where you have actual subdomains that contain content not on a higher level domain's DNS server. A perfect example of this is in a situation where you have a very large Active Directory forest infrastructure, where you may have zones that are easily identifiable as subdomains and others that may not be. Here for company.pri, let's say, for example, that we have a denver.company.pri, a testandprod.denver.company.pri, and maybe even a burrito.com, for example. Well, we need to have some mechanism when clients attempt to talk to their primary or secondary DNS server to have some redirection of that request to the server that contains the appropriate information. A zone delegation is used primarily in a situation where you've got this sort of Active Directory or multi-zone and subzone configuration where the subzones contain information that is needed by clients in a different zone. So for example, let's say we have clients in company.pri and we have DNS records in denver.company.pri. For our clients in company.pri to be able to resolve those records, we have to set up a zone delegation to point them to the correct server in that subdomain. The process is relatively simple, but you've got to configure it in every case. Let me minimize this here. I want to show you just exactly where it happens. I'm back here on dc.company.pri. I'm taking a look at my company.pri domain. And again, let's assume that I've got some domain controller out there, that DC is also a DNS server, and that DNS server contains the records for denver.company.pri. When that happens, I right-click here on company.pri and choose to create a new delegation. If I choose next, then I need to identify what the delegated domain will be, so Denver, for example. This dialog box kind of protects you from yourself because it only gives you the ability to enter a short name in here so that it can populate the FQDN down here at the bottom. So you really can't kind of screw up here in this wizard. For denver.company.pri, I need to identify what the name server would be for that machine. Let's assume that there is a Denver-DC machine .denver.company.pri, and I won't hit the resolve button here because we don't have that in this location, but that its IP address is 192.168.1.100. Okay, I haven't actually got this server, so let's just assume that the server exists. Once I've done that, I can click the OK button here, and that will create the delegation. I can choose Next and then Finish to see, as you can see here, this delegated zone for denver.company.pri. And all this delegation is saying is that if you need to get content for that location, well, the name server for denver.company.pri can be found here at this machine, den-dc.denver.company.pri.